Hey, welcome. Rob here. And this will be 2014 movie talk. And this is my view on what's going to happen, how these movies are playing out. And the talk here is going to be on Captain America, The Winter Soldier. And then the second one we have is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Third one we'll be talking about X-Men Days of Future Past. Then Guardians of the Galaxy. First movie this year that's probably really gonna hit big in our community of superheroes is Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier. From everything that has been known so far, and not wanting to spoil it, because I want people to watch this video in the future, so you don't really want to spoil it in the comments or anything. This movie just really hits the mark as one of Marvel Studios' like high-end quality films. The same directors will be on Captain America 3, and just from the trailers you could tell that this film delivers for the fans of comic book movies, and this is a big one. And I thought Thor 2 was much better than Thor 1. Thor 1 to me was okay, but I liked the sequel much more. And Captain America 1, I know some people had problems with it. I thought it was okay, and all regards is that this film is better. And the funny thing I noticed is a lot of these heroes like Thor and Captain America, most of them from Marvel have more modern takes. That you look at the Captain America, the Avengers, and Thor. These are what they're basing it on is material in the past 10 or so years at Marvel. They're not basing it really on material that is like from the Silver Age. So in a way, it's this modern take shows you that if there are other comic book properties that do not have a long history, you can definitely translate it to a movie. It doesn't have to be some old character. In fact, I think it is good that they do have a modern take on it, because if they were trying to translate the 1960s material and stories and that sensibility into a film today, it would be really hard to translate that properly. So relying on the modern books and storylines like The Winter Soldier is more practical, and it just works better. So Captain America 2, financially, it's definitely going to do solid numbers, and it will be a Marvel success story. And The Amazing Spider-Man 2, personally, from me to you in the audience here, that if Marvel Studios is not making a superhero movie, I don't have 100% faith in any other studio making a Marvel or a DC movie. It's like, Sony and Fox, I really don't trust them that, this is a quality studio that I can rely on. At least with Marvel, that more or less they have set a pretty good standard of quality material. No one's going to be perfect, but at least the standard is above average. And with other studios, I can't say that really. From everything we've seen and know about, it looks like this is going to be a really good Spider-Man movie. Which, thankfully, it's been a while. The third movie we all know was terrible. And even the Spider-Man with the lizard, it was okay, but I just thought that it could have been better. I thought maybe the villain, it just didn't connect with the lizard. One reason that the lizard in that Spider-Man movie I thought failed in a way was he's just a cold, typical scientist that, as an audience member, why do you care about this character? No, you don't. There's no connection to him. He's just some cold scientist that I don't care what happens to that character, whether he makes it or not, lives or not. And I thought that really missed a point, because whenever you can make like a connection to a villain and sort of like humanize him, it makes for a better story, and I thought that lacked. And on the Spider-Man 1, it was, just from that transition of getting new into this rebooted world. That took a while to get used to, I think, as an audience, because it was so different. But now that you know about it, now that you know how that world operates and who's in it, I think the second one, and since it's not an origin story anymore, right? I think the second one is definitely going to connect better. Rumor is, I think on AMC they said, insiders who saw it said, that this film is really good. I know they're trying to expand the whole Spider-Man world, and they want to franchise it with a Venom movie and spin-offs and make their own type of connected universe like Marvel Studios did. So I have definitely high hopes for Spidey. I want it to be like one of the best films. I mean, couldn't you tell? But, if you ask me if I trust Sony's quality, I can't say that I do, After all, they did approve Spider-Man 3. I mean, what does that tell you? So yeah, I think the signs point that it can definitely be a really good film, and I want it to be, I want it to be like an amazing film. But as I'm making this video, don't know yet. Next film is X-Men Days of Future Past. Another X-Men film with Wolverine, bringing back the X2 and X1 director of Bryan Singer. Where to begin with this one? It's based on a famous storyline of X-Men Days of Future Past with time travel. And the original character was Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, but it makes much more sense to put Logan or the Wolverine character in that role, just because it is a much more popular character and well known. The director of that Bryan Singer, he's had a lot of flop movies recently, in recent years, and it has not been really good at all. If anything, he needs the X-Men to revitalize his career, then the X-Men need him. I think the film, it looks good, but is there too many cast members? Is the plot going to be spoiled by focusing on too many people? The X-Men franchise is definitely getting up there in age, and makes you wonder, will they just totally reboot all the actors at once one day? Will there be a new Professor X, a new Cyclops, a new Wolverine, a new Storm, and just all new actors across the board? And at some point, I think there has to be an X-Men total reboot. In the modern day, not took place in the 1960s or 1980s or whatever. But Fox has definitely shown a lot of faith in the movie. That X-Men Apocalypse is already scheduled with the same director. And so there's a lot of good faith in this X-Men movie. And they also have scheduled, besides X-Men Apocalypse, a Wolverine third solo film with Hugh Jackman. Some really good stuff planned. I'm going to be real curious about, hopefully, that this film will really connect and really be a top movie. And I just wonder, will the Cyclops character be brought back? And will they finally use the character correctly? He was never really used correctly in any of the X-Men films, and it was even mentioned that, yeah, they did stumble on that character. Yeah, and just as a movie fan, I do have high hopes for these films. I want them to be good. I want really great superhero films. But, as an audience, we have been also let down so much that you always got to take a critical eye to the films, and it's like, like the film got to prove it to you that it's of quality. And then we move on to Guardians of the Galaxy. And Guardians of the Galaxy is just some, like, off-the-wall, not to be taken serious, comedic tone film in outer space. It's something totally different. And from what I saw, I was actually more entertained than I thought I would be. And I'm going to give it a chance. And it's going to be fun. And as I'm making this video, they are already making Age of Ultron. The Avengers 2 is already being... they're already shooting the film. They're already on location. And I gotta admit, at this point, Marvel Studios, it's like a well-oiled machine, set the standard for any other superhero movie company. They really have worked out a system that gets things done. It's no more talk, no more we're gonna do it. No, they just get it done. Making a film is so difficult. You've seen stories where films have taken 5, 10, 15 years just to get made, from initial idea to final product. And so for any movie studio to crank out as many films as they have in such a short amount of time is admirable. And I do not think that DC, even with Superman and Batman, is going to have that level of a fine, well-oiled machine at Warner Brothers just yet. And so I think they really have a while to go in terms of getting that system, getting their machine set up that they could run things smoothly. They're still trying to figure it out. And Sony is trying to figure it out with Spider-Man. They want to copy Marvel Studios and make their own productions of getting other films out and just cranking it out. And then you have, what other company? Fox is trying to definitely crank it out. I think of anyone other than Marvel, Sony, or Warner Brothers, I think the credit should go to Fox, because they have already announced Wolverine 3, they have announced X-Men Apocalypse, they have announced an unnamed third film. So they're confident enough that they're going on the record and saying, we have a plan and this is it, and we're letting you know about it. And Warner Brothers has not done that, and Sony has not done that yet, to have that confidence to say, we're going to have these films and we're telling you that we're making it. And just to have that direction, I really, in a way, got to give credit, oddly enough, to Fox, because that studio company is going on the record and has something established. And it was just a rumor I read, because it's been talked about that the X-Men and the Fantastic Four are going to, because Fox owns the movie rights, at some point they're going to connect. And if a rumor I read is true, read it by accident, I think that the idea-wise could be really cool. I mean, it's something that I could definitely approve of, that this would really connect with the comic audience, that you'll really like it. And so those two universes can definitely connect, and most likely will. And it's just smart marketing for Fox Studios to do that. And so that's it. That's the whole movie talk here. And just let me know what you think. Think about the movies, think about this topic.